In this video, I'm going to walk through my exact SEO for roofing business system. This is the same system and process that I use for my own clients and my own businesses that I invest in. So right off the bat, what I want to jump into is, first of all, why does SEO matter? There's a lot of chatter and talk now about SEO kind of declining in importance with AI tools, ChatGPT, social media, and all these other things that are taking some attention away from search. What we've seen is Google is still one of the number one lead sources for quality leads for roofing businesses. And one of the main reasons that Google still works well is the intent. Google is still one of the few marketing platforms where a user is actually searching for your services and basically raising their hand that they want your service. On all other platforms and social media channels, typically we're interrupting what somebody's doing. It doesn't mean those aren't effective and you can't make them work. It's just different. So with our system, we like to start with a base layer of SEO, and then we expand into different ad platforms and methods for running ads. So we're not going to cover advertising in this video. In this video, I really want you to walk away with a process you can use to improve your own SEO for your roofing business. So again, SEO allows us to drive targeted traffic. It should be one of your primary lead sources. And then in terms of ROI, we find it's one of the highest return on investments you can make, and the results are lasting. With ad platforms, as soon as you turn your ads off, you get no more phone calls or leads. With SEO, there's a lasting effect that actually carries through, which makes it a really scalable channel. Now, we find the best way to generate leads is not by simply just doing one thing. There's no quick fix or magic bullet. It's by a combination of platforms and marketing channels to really get the most results. So in our system, we blend local SEO with traditional SEO. We also leverage Google ads, and Google has a variety of different ad types that are worth testing. We tend to focus on search, map extension ads, local service ads, and performance max. It doesn't mean all of these ad platforms are going to work for you specifically, but we test all of them and then scale the ones that work. And then finally, working meta ads into the mix as well. We tend to lean towards video ads, but the key with meta ads is really the creative testing. So back to SEO here. It's important to have an understanding of what the search results look like. The reason a lot of people say SEO is declining in importance is because all of the different things that show up on a search result. If we type in roofers in White Plains, New York, what you'll see is the local service ads at the top. And these are a pay per call ad that Google offers. Now, these are worth testing. Sometimes the leads are expensive and they're not the greatest quality. In other markets, it can work. It's low hanging fruit. So I always recommend testing this and then seeing how it goes. And if it works, great. If not, there's other methods in advertising we can use. Then you get your text ads. These are just a standard search Google text ads that are pay per click. Then we get a map result. Now, the map result, there's 3 spots that you can rank in with local SEO efforts. A lot of times the first map result is actually an ad as well. If you click more businesses, what you'll typically see is the local service ads are showing at the top of the map. So if you're running these local service ads, it also allows you to show up in the maps directly. Sometimes there'll be a map extension ad here as well, which is a little bit different. Then we get to the search results here. So you'll see there's these people also ask questions. So look how far we have to scroll to actually get to the SEO results. This is their number one ranking business through traditional SEO, but you can see how far down the page they are. So that's where many people will put a sort of less emphasis on SEO because of the way the search results are laid out. Now, what I find is you don't want to just show up once on the first page. Often by showing up multiple times, so having an organic listing in the top 3, being the answer right here in the people also ask question, you'll see Google will cite a business as the answer. Showing up in the maps and running multiple ads, you're essentially showing up 4 or 5, sometimes even 6 times on the first page. And what we find when we do that is users assume you are the best business in the area just by how often they see you. Many people don't understand how all the advertising and all these different methods work. If they see your business multiple times as they're scrolling Google, they're going to assume you're one of the best companies. So often these ads and all these SEO efforts tie together and actually have an impact on each other. When you look at it in isolation, you may think one of those methods are not working, but when you actually step back and look at a high level, often we find completely controlling the first page of Google is the best way to generate not just leads, but the actual quality leads. Often, if you only show up once, you'll get some phone calls, you'll get some leads, but you're often getting the lowest quality leads in that manner if you're not showing up multiple times. Now, the other thing you'll notice is a lot of directory sites as well, like Yelp, Angie's List, Thumbtack. They do their own SEO work. A lot of times they even run ads. If we're looking at them here, they're both running ads. So you can look at building out a presence on these directories. And that's another way, if somebody clicks through to these platforms, they'll find your business. Now, advertising on these, it's a whole nother avenue. But for now, we're going to focus on SEO. So the opportunity with SEO is to try and rank in the top 3 in this organic space and also the top 3 of the maps. And then leveraging your ads to show up additional times above the organic results. We're going to focus heavily on the maps, which tends to be the highest converting organic space on the first page of Google. And then we're also going to cover how to rank in this in this traditional organic result. So that's kind of what a modern search result looks like for a roofing keyword. Now, before we dig into changes you can actually make, it's important to understand and identify what are the keywords people are searching that would indicate that they're in the market actively for your services. So for roofing, it's typically pretty straightforward. You have roofers plus your city, roofers plus near me, and then you also have keywords like roofing companies, roofing contractors, and variations of that you can target. Now, if we look at this is a keyword tool from Ahrefs that you can use. And what this tool does, it allows you to pull different keyword metrics and search for different keywords and kind of see what words are related. So if we click on this one here, we could see how often the keyword gets searched. So as this loads, again, you don't need a tool like this, but if you're doing serious SEO, these tools can really help. We'll see this keyword has 20 searches per month. So there's 20 people actively typing this keyword in every month. If we look over here on the left, we'll see the variations. So when you look at one keyword, it might not be that exciting, but when you start adding up all of these different keywords, the search demand is much higher often than it looks on the surface. Now, there are tools like inside of a Google Ads, even if you're not actively running ads, Google does have a keyword tool that you can use. And it is free, included with your ad account. So again, even if you're not paying for ads, you can sign up for a Google Ads account, don't run any ads, and you can still use their free keyword tool. There's other free tools you can use. This is the one I use personally just because we do this at scale for clients and other businesses, but you don't need a tool like this. For the most part, you're going to see the same keywords for roofing businesses just with your city plugged in. So the word roofing, roofing contractor, roofing businesses. Then you get other things like roof repair, roofing and siding is another variation. So you can start to think about all the different kind of services you have underneath roofing. And those are going to be the ones you're going to want to target potentially with your ad account, but definitely with your SEO efforts. Now, once you have keywords identified, it's important to start figuring out which pages on your website are you actively going to target those keywords with. You don't want to target tons of keywords on the same page. The exception to that is if the keywords are very similar. Like in this case, all of these keywords here are essentially the same thing. So I can have one page and target all of these. Now, roof repair, I would do a different page for. Roofing and siding would be another one where I would create an additional page specifically targeting roofing and siding. If we look at this example here, you'll see they have a services section where they have some of the common keywords. They have pages created for some of the common keywords like inspection, roof installation, repair, leak repair, chimney services, gutters. You can kind of see what they've done here. Now, they also have city pages. It's very important to have pages where you're targeting the different cities that you service. You definitely want to have your physical location, wherever you're located, a page created for that. But you could even have pages where you don't physically have your business location, but you service that area. This is an example of what you can do with that page. The reason you need these pages is because it's very difficult to optimize one page for all of these different cities. It's much easier if you have a page dedicated to each one where you can optimize the copy on the page. So in this case, we have New Rochelle, New York on this page. If we look at the title tag, which is very important for SEO, we also have this city here, keyword here. Again, this is not my client. This is just a random roofing company that I picked out on the search results, but I just wanted to show the example of the types of pages you're going to need to create. Now, these location pages are really going to be your most important pages on the website. What I personally like to do, that's a little bit different than what they're doing here. I like to combine the service with the location. Instead of just having one location page for each city, what I would personally do and what I find the best results with is I have a location page for each service. So in this case, this page, I'd be targeting roofing companies in Armonk, New York. But then I would also have a page like that looks like this called roof repair. And I'd be targeting roof repair in Armonk, New York. And then I could have a chimney service page. I can have an installation page. So same thing, it would be roof installation. And it would be a specific page on the back of these city pages. And that allows me to target a lot of services in a lot of different cities. And I can optimize this page accordingly. So really important to, at the very least, think through what are the core services you want more business for? And then which locations and cities and states are you operating in that you want to generate leads from? Once you map all that out, then you can mash that together to figure out the pages you're going to need. Now, as far as optimizing these pages to rank high in the search results with SEO, these are kind of the common things you're going to want to look at. In my opinion, the single most important thing is going to be your title tag, and then to a lesser degree, your meta description. Now, these are tags that don't even show up on the page. If you look at this page, the title tag and the meta description are nowhere to be found. The title tag shows up here in the browser. This tool here is called SEO Meta in one click. It actually, if you click on that button, it'll show you the title tag and the meta description of any page. The reason this is important is because of it's essentially ad copy. So if we type this keyword in to Google here, your title tag and your meta description are this here. So the title tag is this blue link and the meta description is this copy here. So it's very important. Just like if you look at this Google text ad, when you're running ads, most people will spend a lot of time thinking about what their copy is and they'll make adjustments and they'll test. With SEO, many people don't do that. So you don't want this text to be generic. Like if we look at this one here, you want it to be exciting where if a user sees that, they're going to click on your listing. So you need to include words in here that would get somebody to click. That's your goal at this stage. First goal is ranking on the first page. Once you get to the first page, you want to make sure there's something that will get someone to click. It could be something about your reviews, how many years you've been in business. It could be about price or a promo that you're running. The core format is you want to have your target keyword in this. And then at the end of the text, you want to do something that's compelling. They have workmanship you can count on. That does stand out. Like if I look at all of these listings here, this is really the only one that does stand out. Now Yelp says best and top rated, so that also stands out. This one does not stand out, and this one does not stand out as well. So you're leaving a lot of clicks and ultimately leads on the table if you're not spending time really thinking through what these core tags are on each of your important pages on your website. So again, you want to have the city and the target keyword, but you don't want to stop there. You want to actually include something compelling. If we go to this business here and we click through, let's see. So you can see they've tried to jam sort of like two different keywords into here. And you'll see Google's kind of removing the second one. So it's wasted space essentially. What I'd rather see is focus on one keyword and then really think about not what Google wants, but what would cause someone to click on your listing versus other people. You really need to brainstorm that and think through what the options are. If we look at this business here, we'll see how they've broken down all their different services. So again, it's important to have a page for every service and then also a page for every city plus the service that you offer. So that's kind of just the overall basics of on-page SEO. Also look at your headings on the page. If you have an optimized image, we're not going to go too deep on all these things, but really with the page itself, you really want to also be thinking on how am I going to generate leads from the page? Don't just jam a bunch of content in for SEO. If that content actually makes your page look worse and sort of like spammy, what that's going to do is it's going to cause people to not actually call you or not actually reach out. And that's not what you want. You really want to make sure you're focusing your page on how you can maximize leads. So we'll do a separate video on conversion rate optimization, but it's really important once you start driving traffic to your landing pages, if they're not converting well, or if you don't have a system for analyzing and even knowing if it's converting well, that's a big mistake. And we're leaving, again, a lot of revenue and leads on the table. So we'll do a separate video covering that in more detail. Now for local SEO, again, local SEO is the process we use to rank in the top 3 of the map results. This is one of the most coveted space you could have through SEO. Now, how you actually rank on there is sort of determined by a variety of factors. You have your Google business profile, which with your Google business profile, you want to make sure you have all of the information filled in. Essentially, anything Google gives you the option to include or ask for, fill in that information. Now, we can go super deep on little settings and little tricks with the Google business profile, but the short answer is if Google's asking for that information, fill it in and use everything available. Because again, we want to try to get a competitive advantage versus some of the competitors here. Now, we'll pull up our local SEO checklist in a second. But the other things to look at are citations. Citations are essentially directory profiles. In my opinion, they're getting less important than they used to be. But again, any little edge you can get is worth doing. We want to do things as basically as strong as possible, so we have that competitive advantage. So the key there is sign up for any prominent or relevant business directory that you can list your business in, fill out all the information and make sure it's accurate. Now, reviews on your Google business profile are one of the biggest ranking factors. Not only are they a ranking factor, but they're actually a conversion factor. So if we look at the search result, the number 1 result, it's no surprise, they have the most reviews. But you'll actually see the number 3 result has less reviews than the number 2 result in this case. But what I typically see is often this business may get more leads and calls from this listing than the one that's above it, just because of the reviews. A user can see the reviews right away, and they're gonna look at quantity and quality here. Now, they're also a lot of times gonna click in and actually read your reviews. So it's very important that you're answering and replying to reviews, both positive and negative. Don't argue with people on negative reviews. Try and show that you're trying to make it right and that you're working with the person rather than being combative with people that are leaving negative reviews. But overall, you want to shoot for at least a 4.7 rating. The higher, the better. And then for quantity, you want to be at least on par with your competitors, but ideally you want to be ahead of them, similar to this business here. And that's going to give you a competitive advantage. That's going to be hard for other businesses to replicate and to catch up with you on. So reviews are critical for ranking and also generating leads. Backlinks, again, we'll at some point do a separate training on backlinks. Backlinks are essentially like endorsements from another website. If a website links to you, it's sort of like they're giving you a vote of confidence or an endorsement. And that's how Google looks at these. Google looks at these to basically determine if they can trust your website. If you have no other websites talking about you and linking to you, that's a signal to Google that you don't have a lot of brand awareness or authority in this space. Google wants to see businesses that are featured, that are promoting themselves, and that other people are talking about. So there's a lot of ways to build backlinks, but the main thing here is it's important to put a strategy together. Now, as far as local SEO, we have this checklist here that we go through when we're onboarding a new roofing company or local business, where this has all the different things you're going to want to do in your Google business profile. So again, it's important to choose your categories properly, to upload as much photo and video as possible. Many people don't upload video, and that's a mistake. You want to upload as much media to your Google business as possible, and you want to do it on a regular basis. Very few things for local SEO are set it and forget it, where you do it once. That's another mistake a lot of roofing companies make, is they do a little bit of work and think the work stops there. You really want to consistently be updating these things. You want all your business info to be accurate. You want to have an optimized description. There's a Q&A feature where you could input questions right on your Google business profile. What I like to do with that feature, let's see if anyone's using it here. There's also a post feature, which is this updates here. It's important to do at least one of these a month. I like to do them weekly for the post feature. You want to set up services. If I click on services, you can control the information that goes here. So you want to make sure that's all filled in. And again, anything Google offers, you want to include. You want to include your service areas of the different cities that you service. And you want all that information in the Google business profile. Now, It's better if you have a physical location in the city you're trying to target. It's not impossible to rank with service areas, but I find if you have a physical location, you're going to have a better chance of ranking. And there's ways to get addresses and office space for fairly cheap in an affordable manner. And sometimes it justifies the monthly fee if you're generating enough leads. That's more of an advanced strategy. Now, if we go to this business here, we can scroll through and just check out their profile. So they're doing updates. Let's go to this one. I like to kind of look through the different profiles, and you should do this to all your competitors and just start to get a feel for like what features are they using. And that'll give you some indication of some of the options that you have here. You can see their description here, their posts. So all of that information is being mapped out. Now, we also want to look at citations. So typically to look at competitor citations, you need a tool. Bright Local is one that you can use to analyze how many citations your competitors have. Don't worry too much about that. The short answer is just build some quality ones. Make sure your Google business profile set up. Make sure you're set up on Apple and on Bing, and then build some business directories that you know of and that you see as well. Then we've covered reviews. Again, generate as many as you can with the highest quality you can. Be careful if you're asking friends and family to leave reviews. And also the quantity and the pacing of your reviews. You don't necessarily want to get 100 reviews in 2 days if you've never really gotten reviews before. That's going to look spammy. You really want it to be consistent, because any legitimate business that's operating is generating consistent reviews every month, and that's what Google wants to see. Consistency over a long period of time versus a sprint where you get a bunch of reviews and you stop doing the work to get them. Reviews are a grind. You just have to ask and keep pushing with those, but really important ranking factor and conversion factor to actually generate leads. Now, with link building, the reason I like these tools like this one is I can input a website and I can see what their domain authority is or their domain rating. This is a score from 0 to 100 that's heavily based on backlinks. And I can see here, if I click on 767, there's 767 websites that are linking to this business. So you can input all your competitors and see exactly where they're getting their backlinks from. And right now I'm seeing a lot of citations and directories. If we look at like Easy Local, Yellow Pages, I want to be looking really through all your competitors' backlink profiles to identify websites that you can also get featured on. That's kind of the quickest method for generating backlinks. But the downside is you do need typically a tool to help you with that. And what I find with link building is it's difficult to do. It can be confusing, but it's very important. Start by looking at your competitors, then start to look at local businesses and your network. Do you know other business owners, even if they're not other roofers? And then you could start to think about, is there a way you can get a link from their website? The key is you want the link to be genuine. So a lot of times what you need to do is either supply some kind of content or a blog post for that business to publish on their website, or you need to give them some kind of incentive to link to you. So guest blog posting is an old strategy. It does still work. There's some diminishing returns on it. What I prefer to do with guest posting is try and post on industry-based websites that you know of, just to build a little credibility. There's also digital PR tools and methods where you can submit quotes to journalists. Quoted is one, featured.com is another. There's a bunch out there. But you could investigate those. Sometimes that's a decent way to just get a few base level backlinks. Now, technical SEO, we're not going to cover this in too much detail. If your website was built recently by a reputable company, you really shouldn't have to worry about technical SEO too much. It's been a while since your website's been updated, you might want to check the page load speed. You would hope it's mobile optimized. If it's not, that's a big deal because most people nowadays are searching on mobile. So you really want to make sure that's optimized. And you can rank a website that maybe doesn't have the best technical SEO or doesn't have the best user experience, but you're leaving a lot of money on the table because if your website's outdated and it's not easy to use, nobody's going to call you and you're not going to generate leads. The person's going to go back to the search results, click on one of your competitors, and then call them. So you really need to think about this beyond SEO and just from a business standpoint and a conversion standpoint. Do you want to be the leader in the space or do you want to have a low quality website? If you have a low quality website, people are going to assume you're doing low quality work and that you don't care about the business. So really start to think about that. and make sure your website's up to date. Now, tracking and analytics. So after you've implemented a lot of these things, you're going to see some improvement. Now, it's important though to make sure you have proper tracking in place. I like to set up Google Analytics or Google Analytics 4 and make sure you have leads being tracked. Anyone that submits a form or calls you should be tracked. Now, you may need a call tracking tool. I really like CallRail and What Converts. And I can include links to these, but you can find them as well. Both of these allow you to track phone calls and get recordings. And the benefit is not only can you listen to the recording to see if it was a high quality lead, you can see the source of the call. So you'll know exactly if that person came from SEO or if they came from one of your ads, which is really critical data to have. Some people want to skip this and don't want to spend the money on these tools, but then all the money you're spending on marketing, you're essentially guessing on what's happening. So in my opinion, this is a non-negotiable thing. If you're investing in marketing, you need to be investing in tracking. I also like to set up map tracking so we know how our map rankings are progressing, and traditional keyword tracking to know how our keywords are progressing. So with those data points, you'll be able to evaluate exactly what's working. The good thing about analytics is most of the tools are free. Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and Google Business Profile all have data that you can utilize. The only paid tool you're really going to need is a good call tracking tool. Other than that, the analytics stack that you need is essentially free. Now, the question I get a lot is, should I do this kind of work in-house or should I hire an SEO agency? There's pros and cons to both. If you have the time and the bandwidth to learn, and depending on what stage you're at, if you're just starting out and you have a few clients, you're able to generate a couple leads, you're getting a little bit of business, but you're just starting out and you don't have the revenue to really invest properly, it could make sense to learn some of this and do it yourself, because it will be expensive. And there is a period in the beginning where there could be some trial and error and a learning curve. So you might not see an immediate ROI. So it might make sense for you to try and learn this. Now, running a business, you have a million things to do. So you're going to quickly run out of bandwidth as you start scaling, and you're not going to have the time, or your time's better spent running your business than worrying about SEO. That's where it can make sense to hire an agency. If you hire an in-house employee, the challenge you're going to run into is most likely you're going to get somebody junior that doesn't have a lot of experience, and you're going to be paying about as much as a good agency would cost. If you want to get someone really good at SEO, most of those people are not going to want to work in-house full-time for your business. So then you're in a situation where it's hard to get the right talent. And if you don't hire someone with the experience, you're relying on someone without the experience to build your SEO process. That's one of the biggest things that I see is it's not enough just to hire someone. You don't want to hire someone and then say, go build my whole SEO system and process for me. If someone has a very good process and system, they've probably built a business or an agency with it. Now, you can find good contractors. That can sometimes be a good middle ground between an agency and an in-house employee, is an experienced SEO contractor. So those are the kind of things I like to look at when I'm evaluating what type of team member you need. So again, no right or wrong answer. And you might evolve over time. You might start out doing this yourself, and then as your business is starting to do more revenue and things are growing, you might bring in a contractor. And then as you start to do even more revenue, you might outgrow the contractor and need to bring in an agency. So don't feel like you have to pick one of these methods and stick with it. You can adapt. But it's important to really think through what you want to spend your time on. Do you even want to spend the time to learn SEO? Or do you want to just skip the line and bring in an expert to help you? So what we do at our company here is we do this for local businesses all across the US. And we work in a couple different ways. One way is we just take over your SEO and your marketing and your ads, and we completely do everything for you. We have another model where we're looking to invest in roofing companies all across the US. So we actually invest in your business and partner with you and take over your marketing as a strategic partner. And then we have some skin in the game with you. And that's one of the big ways that we're different than a lot of companies. Many companies just want to charge you thousands of dollars every month, and it really doesn't matter to them what happens to your business. They get paid regardless. We like to put our money where our mouth is, and we want to invest in businesses that we can partner with and help scale and get that long-term upside rather than just the short-term paycheck. So any of those things sound interesting to you, you can book a call with me. Even if you're on the fence, book a call. You have nothing to lose, because on that call, I'll map out the complete game plan of exactly what you need to do to improve your SEO specific to your markets. And there's no obligation. You can take that information and go and implement it for yourself. There's no obligation to work with me directly. But I think on that call, you'll get some of the info that will help you generate more leads, improve your SEO. And then if it makes sense, we could potentially either work together, or we could even invest in your business and help you scale and get to the next level. So there'll be a link in the description below to book that call. Book a time and we'll go from there.